People always have something to say no matter what. Clarissa is making sure that everyone is aware of her position in the world of celebrities. She has moved into the middle of things and is ready for whatever comes next, rather than staying quiet and watching from the sides. You are already aware that Remy and Papooses' romance is failing if you have been keeping up with this issue. People used to look up to them as a couple, but now things are becoming worse. Following reports that Remy had cheated, Clarissa Shields is taking things seriously. And her relationship with Papoose is getting increasingly shaky. Just when it seemed like he was ready to move on, Papoose, who had always been a devoted husband, made it plain that he would no longer tolerate games. Remy had something to say and started saying things that showed how unhappy she was with Papooses' new life. She initially gave the impression that she didn't care, but it was clear that she was unhappy. Clarissa overheard her making playful comments about Papoose, such as, "Who cooks better, me or Papoose? He cannot cook anything." Instead of keeping quiet, she answered. Supporters started to take sides, with some arguing that Papoose was moving on too soon and others claiming Remy was the one who caused this issue. As their story comes to a close, it is clear that Clarissa is not frightened of Remy and will not put up with her disrespectful behavior. For years, people thought Papoose and Remy were the perfect couple, the kind of love that lasts forever. When people first discovered that Remy might not have been faithful, they didn't give up. They remembered Papooses' assistance during her 6 years in prison, including his marriage to her while she was still incarcerated and his care of their family. He gave her 6 years, but most individuals wouldn't wait 6 months. What did he receive in exchange? Remy's failure to wish him a Father's Day was the first significant indication that anything was amiss. She couldn't even take 5 seconds to wish him a happy Father's Day. He had reared their daughter, supported her, and always shown his devotion. Papoose shared a family photo on Instagram without Remy in order to inform everyone that their lovely marriage was ending. He didn't say much, instead of waiting for Remy to explain, but his deeds were more powerful than words. Since everyone knows now, a lot of people believe Remy believed Papoose would always be there and took him for granted. However, she is playing the victim now that he is at last moving on. Supporters of Papoose are defending him, claiming that he deserves more, and criticizing Remy for losing a man who is consistently devoted to her. When Remy started disclosing private messages between Papoose and Clarissa, rather than keeping them confidential, the situation became even more chaotic. Instead of making him appear awful, she thought this would make her look resentful. "You are the one who is married. You cannot even sleep on the phone with me or let me know you made it home safely. Then what are we doing?" Clarissa told Papoose in one of the leaked messages. Remy assumed would make Papoose look bad, but it actually made her look desperate. Give the impression that Papoose was associated with Clarissa while they were still together. She tried to change the facts. After Papoose fell asleep at Clarissa's place, Remy said she was on the phone with her when she found the texts. Situation, however, grew much more startling at this point. Clarissa did not keep quiet after realizing what Remy was attempting to accomplish. Instead, she accused Remy of cheating first, not once, but several times. Since she was the one who was acting dishonestly the entire time, she made it apparent that Remy shouldn't pretend to be the victim. This is precisely what people anticipated from Remy, and instead of taking responsibility for her errors, she is trying to make Papoose the villain. After Remy spoke up, Papoose, who is typically a private person who dislikes posting about his difficulties online, made the decision to correct the record. He said that Remy was unwilling to accept his long-standing request for a divorce. Even if she was unable to remain silent this time, Remy may have just made matters worse for herself. And as a result, the internet is now intently monitoring the situation. Clarissa may have believed she was exposing Papoose, but she refused to back down, giving the impression that Remy has chosen a losing battle after months of silence. Since Papoose is now making everything public, many are curious about the true nature of his relationship with Remy. It is clear that he has expressing the truth. He recently indicated that he is done with Remy totally and has been attempting to seek a divorce. But she won't sign the paperwork. People are therefore curious as to why Remy won't let him leave. On Instagram, Papoose even claimed that Remy Ma is a narcissist who has repeatedly cheated on him. She's playing the victim now that he's moved on. She won't act like an adult in this situation. My kid is the reason I didn't want to go public, but I've had enough. Everything changed with just one message. It demonstrated that Remy had been behaving as if Papoose had suddenly abandoned her. But in reality, Papoose had made it apparent that he was. And Remy was the one who put an end to it. Rumors circulated last year that she was becoming too close to battle rapper Ezy the Block Captain, so isn't even new. She initially wrote it off as unimportant, but the more people investigated it, the more obvious it became. Now it all makes sense if Papoose knew what was going on and was already trying to seek a divorce. He has always been polite and respectful, never sought attention online, and stayed mute even when the rumors about Remy started. This is what really pulled people onto him. It's clear that he no longer wants anything to do with her now that he's speaking up. Given how much Papoose invested in this relationship and how he helped Remy through everything, particularly while she was in jail, many fans felt sad for him. He battled for her release, supported her profession, cared for their daughter, and stayed faithful. Papoose's public remarks are even more startling given how secretive he is. It must have grown so severe that he felt compelled to speak up. He attempted to handle matters discreetly, as seen by his note, but Remy persisted in his games. People are upset because they witnessed him in an instance where she was attempting to harm his reputation. She in relationships, but it appears that she has since abandoned counsel. Although Papoose has always been regarded as an honest individual, Remy hasn't really responded to any of or made a clear statement disputing Papoose's claims. Rather, she keeps acting as if she was harmed, which is making things worse for her, because she isn't offering any proof to back up her allegations. She would have brought it up by now if she had any concrete evidence that Papoose was lying, but instead she is trying to shift the conversation and avoid the topic. People are issue. People find it hard to stand by her, and the longer she puts up, the worse it appears to be for her. Papoose made it apparent that he wanted to keep things quiet for the sake of his daughter, who is caught in the middle, but Remy persisted in making matters worse. Suggests that Papoose was thinking about their family and attempting to be respectful. He probably hoped they could work things out behind closed doors. But because she refused to cooperate, he had no alternative but to speak up. Might have been avoided if Remy had just acted like an adult instead of attempting to play the victim, especially now that all of their private problems are in the spotlight and their daughter will eventually see it all. People are curious about Papoose's current partner and his choice to move on, but that is not the main problem. The true question, though, is why Remy is trying so hard to keep a relationship going with someone she says isn't healthy for her. Why is she hesitant to sign the divorce papers if she truly believes Papoose is the villain? Many people find this confusing. Some believe Papoose is not struggling to accept the consequences of actions, while she is. Looking back, he has stated, unequivocally, that he is finished with the relationship and prepared to move on. Many believe that he has been too patient and is now only thinking about himself, while his supporters believe that he deserves better. People on the internet are cheering him on, leaving supportive comments on his social media pages. Some have even dubbed his freedom era, claiming that he can now live his life without being bound by a poisonous relationship. Remy's reputation is quickly changing. She was once commended for her strength and confidence, but now people are criticizing her for not taking responsibility, believing that the incident shows that she betrayed Papoose rather than respecting his loyalty, and assuming there would be no consequences. She is trying to limit the harm now that the truth is out, but the internet never forgets, and her earlier claims of allegiance are backfiring. Some of her supporters continue to defend her, but their justifications are flimsy and devoid of hard data. The situation worsens the more she avoids talking about it directly. The best course of action for her at this point would be to take responsibility and move on. But the way things are going, it seems like Papoose has made it apparent that he does not want to make amends. Thus, the divorce is inevitable. Until then, every new detail will be watched and discussed on the internet. The entire event is a lesson that the truth always surfaces, regardless of how hard someone tries to hide it. Even Papoose, who avoided scandal and kept his private life off social media for years, could not stay silent indefinitely. It's a sign that things have gotten truly serious when someone like him, who has always kept to himself, finally speaks up. He is now prepared to move on with his life, as he is no longer defending Remy's reputation. Clearly, he has given up believing that things would ever get back to normal, as well as waiting and hoping. Remy is being hit hard by this, and for the first time, she is starting to fear and come to terms with the fact that Papoose is permanently gone. Now that they are aware of his side, many people have a different perspective on Remy. She failed terribly in her attempt to harm Papoose's reputation and has only made herself look worse. She now has to face the repercussions of behavior. People are now questioning whether Papoose and Remy's love story, once thought to be among the strongest in hip-hop's, truly over after they battled through loyalty and betrayal. Despite the fact that Papoose has clearly moved on, Remy doesn't seem to be ready to let go. This is because Papoose has already made up his mind, and Remy does not want to deal with the fallout from her actions. There is no going back once he makes up his mind. The drama is increased by the fact that this time, however, things are different, and he is not looking back. Ezy the Block Captain, a battle rapper who has been connected to Remy, finally made his voice heard. His remarks further compounded matters. The whispers, rumors, and little hints all pointed to the same conclusion. There was more to his relationship with Remy than business, as others had been speculating for months. Ezy now asserts that Papoose was suspicious and had started to piece things together long before the internet even started talking about it. So he was aware of it the entire time and wasn't caught off guard. Then, to everyone's surprise, Ezy revealed that Papoose had been secretly listening in on Remy's discussions, confirm his suspicions. Then came the real surprise. Ezy claims that Papoose had been observing Remy for several months. He was doing research and making sure he had reliable evidence before acting, rather than merely listening to hearsay from others. He even installed a recording device in Remy's vehicle so he could secretly listen in on her private discussions. Reactions exploded on the internet as expected. Was no longer just a difficult split. It was now about trust, treachery, and how far someone would go to get the truth. Papoose received praise from some for his intelligence and for waiting for evidence before leveling any charges, while others believed that eavesdropping on his wife and recording her chats was excessive. They suggested that instead of secretly gathering information, he should have just departed if he was that suspicious. Many, however, noted that there would have been skepticism and people would have questioned his motives if he had departed without evidence. Is now unquestionably all the evidence he required, so he is free to proceed without hesitation. Everyone is now anticipating what will happen next. Will Remy keep trying to keep up a relationship that is already broken, or will she finally realize that it is over? But one thing is certain: Papoose isn't going back. Ezy went on to provide more information, demonstrating that he had known something was wrong long before it was made public. He asserted that although Papoose never faced him head-on, his actions started to shift. He initially assumed it was simply ordinary business drama. Rappers are known for their disputes and misunderstandings, but when he took a step back, he saw that Papoose had been watching him intently, waiting for the ideal moment to catch Remy in the act. He was deeply affected by this insight because it was something far more profound than a straightforward disagreement or miscommunication. Everything changed when it was revealed that Papoose had been putting gadgets in Remy's car and recording her talks. Remy might have been playing both sides for a lot longer than anyone had assumed if he had gone that far, which would indicate that he had been suspicious for a while. How long had really been going on was now the key question. Had Remy been betraying Papoose for years? Or was this something new? Opinions among fans varied. Some said Papoose was right to defend himself in the entertainment business, where reputation is everything, as it could be highly harmful to gather proof of his behavior. Remy had depended on his allegiance for years. It always stood by. Her side protected her and sacrificed for her maintain their bond. Others, on the other hand, believed that spying on his wife, regardless of her actions, was excessive. They maintained that a relationship is already finished if trust is violated to that degree. Staying together is pointless if you have to listen in on private talks and follow someone around. People's perceptions about Remy also shifted. Now she was perceived as someone who had taken that dedication for granted, rather than as a strong, independent woman with a loyal spouse. The internet did not hold back, and many started searching for proof that had been going on all along by looking at old interviews, song lyrics, and historical occasions. Supporters noted that despite Papooses' constant claims of loyalty to Remy, including throughout her incarceration, she was unable to maintain her loyalty. People started to question Ezy, the Block Captain's role in all of this as the situation progressed. Or was he more involved than he was acknowledging? Or was he just caught in the middle? There were questions about why he was adding to the already volatile situation when he finally spoke out, since he was now associated with one of the largest controversies in hip-hop. Some believed he was doing it to gain publicity, while others said he was doing it to clear his name and prove he was not the one who began everything. In his perspective, Papoose had already gone on, and Remy was the only one who was still attached to him. But she didn't seem to be able to understand that it was truly over. Maybe she thought his love would transcend the treachery, or maybe she didn't realize how much she had hurt him. However, it was clear that Papoose had already made up his mind, and once he does, it's impossible to change it. If you've been following this emotional storyline involving Papoose, Remy Ma, and Clarissa Shields, you know it's more than just a breakup. It's a story of loyalty, betrayal, and heartache that has left fans split, while Remy Ma must deal with the fallout from her actions. Papoose, who was once hailed as the model of a faithful spouse, is currently enduring the agonizing end of a relationship he devoted years to. And the drama has only become worse since Clarissa took center stage. However, which side are you on? After years of silence, do you believe Papoose was correct to reveal the truth and speak up? Or do you think Remy Ma still merits an opportunity to present her case? What about Clarissa? Did she have the right to confront the dishonesty and stand her ground? Everything is present in this story: love, treachery, and the tumultuous fallout from a public split. One thing is certain: as more information becomes available, the drama is captivating to fans. Don't miss the most recent developments if you share our passion for this story. Please enjoy this video, hit the subscribe button, and leave a comment below with your opinions. Do you believe that the romance between Papoose and Remy Ma is really over? Or is reconciliation still possible? Keep checking back for more juicy updates, behind-the-scenes information, and all the drama directly from the most talked about love triangle in hip-hop.